My brother Braze, best friend, his heart, GM, girl mad. So when you see Baby Braze say I'm GM, he's talking about girl mad. Girl mad wasn't no punk.
Dominique.
In today's video, we're going to talk about Girl Mad Mo, aka B Braze's girlfriend GM. We're also going to break down each generation of the Mad Moes. We're going to break down who Mad Mo number 1 is and Mad Mo number 2. We're going to cover each of their cases, their life story, and more. This is definitely the craziest story I've done so far. Now let's get into it. But to understand their story, I feel like we got to start off with Mad Mo number 1. Mad Mo 1 would be Mad Mo 2's blood brother. They would have the same mother and father. Mad Mo 1, who is 49 years old right now, is currently incarcerated for a double homicide and an attempted murder. He was arrested at the age of 20, and the year was 1997, but the murder took place September 23rd of 1996.
Shit, he been down some time, bro. It's crazy.
At 3:25 in the morning, a vehicle would break down on Santa Monica Freeway and Crenshaw Boulevard. Then when they were trying to inspect the vehicle, 2 young men in a Honda would stop behind the vehicle, then pull up alongside it. And after the white Honda was side by side with the broken down vehicle, somebody inside of the white Honda would utter a gang slur. And without waiting for a response, one of the young men inside of the white Honda would fire 2 shots into the broken down vehicle, hitting 2 out of the 3 people in the vehicle and killing both of them. The victims were a 17-year-old Aaron Johnson, Larry Logan, who was 23, and a 26-year-old man who was in the back seat that was unharmed. A whole year would go by before Mad Mo.
Hey, that was a completely avoidable skit. Really? Like, so you telling me they broke down on the side of the freeway, you roll up like, hey, yo, homie, you need some help? Type shit. And they get to talking about whatever, like whatever derogatory slangs, like speaking in their slang terminology, identifying themselves, right? Subsequently, and bruh start getting it cracking. You know, man, like, you know, they could have just drove off like, fuck you, I ain't gonna help you no more then, since you from the other side type shit.
One would be arrested for the murder. As you see at the top left, the arrest date is September 30th of 1997. This would be him around that time. But remember, they would be looking for 2 people, so he would have a co-defendant, and he would be arrested for the same exact charges. But as you see, his arrest date would be 2 years later, on July of 1998. They would take it to trial, and 3 years later, on October 7th of 1999, they would be found guilty. Mad Mo 1 would receive life without parole for 1 murder, and then on the second murder, he would receive 26 years to life. And he would be sentenced on November 5th of 1999, and his co-defendant would be sentenced to the death penalty for both charges. And he would be sentenced on December 17th of 2001. This would be his article on change.org, and as you see, he's trying to get exonerated. And it says that the witness mistakenly identified Omar Jones, and after 15 years, this same witness recanted his statement, saying that Omar Jones wasn't the one who killed his friend and cousin. He later revealed he was compensated in exchange for his testimony.
Oh, what the? So, you gonna go in there, try to get him some get back or whatever, and then tell the Elroy's like, yeah, they paid me to say this shit. Oh, hell no.
But the judge still denied his appeal, stating that the witness took too long to come forward and wasn't credible. And that would be the same witness that the district attorney used to convict him. But now let's talk about his little brother, Mad Mo number 2, aka KS. Now, as you can see from this picture, he would have DLB on his forehead, which stands for Denver Lane Bloods, and he would have KS on his cheek, which stands for Killer Salo. Salo would be a nickname for the 107 Hoovers, and as you see, they're the closest to the Denver Lane Bloods. He was the one that was on Munchie B's podcast, talking about if B Braze got airlifted or not. He also has an episode on No Jumper with Brick Baby. But let's dive into his court cases. Mad Mo number 2, aka KS, would be in and out of jail his whole life. But we're gonna start off with his first major case. He was arrested on January 20th of 2011 for 1 count of assault with a firearm on a person and 1 count of assault with a firearm on a peace officer / firefighter. He would have...
Oh, he done bust on the firemen's, bruh. This shit, I'm sure it was an accident. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I'm sure they had the wrong person, bruh. For surely.
To sit for about 3 weeks, but on February 10th of 2011, he would bail out for $50,000. And 2 months after bailing out, he would take a plea deal for the assault with a firearm on a person on April 27th of 2011, but they would allow him to stay on bail while he fought the other count of assault with a firearm on a peace officer. But then 4 months after they allowed him to stay on bail, he would catch a whole new case on August 1st of 2011 for grand theft from a person. He would then have to sit in the county jail while he fought both cases, the assault with a firearm on a peace officer and the grand theft from a person. And don't forget, he was still waiting for his sentencing for the assault with a firearm on a person. But on January 17th of 2012, he would take a plea deal for the grand theft from a person. And on that same exact day, he would have the assault with a firearm on a peace officer dismissed. As you see,
you could tell they ain't had shit. He done bailed out. He done did hella shit. Took charge, took like did a little plea deal for certain little shit that he had going on, whatever. But they not addressing that. The whole time they finally had to let the shit settle in. Like, yeah, we don't got shit. Drop it.
January 17th of 2012. He would also be sentenced on that day though, and he would receive 4 years in prison for the assault with a firearm on a person, and he would get 2 years in prison for the grand theft from a person, so 6 years in total. But he had about 2.5 years of time served. He would then be released in 2018, and he would manage to stay out of trouble for a few. But in 2020, he would catch another case, and this time it would be for 1 count of murder, 3 counts of assault with a firearm on a person, 1 count of conspiracy to commit any crime, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon. And if you look to the right, the offense date would be August 1st of 2020. But he wasn't arrested until 2 months later, October 6th of 2020. And how ironic that that would be 1 day before the 107 Hoover set day. But he wasn't the only one arrested. He would have 3 co-defendants, 2 females and 1 male. And his co-defendant would be GM's brother. And his moniker would be Tiny Emac. And as you see in this picture right here, this would be him and baby Braze.
Yeah, Tiny Emac, nigga, on Damon time. Cold part about it is, I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say, bro. It's good. We gonna keep it lit.
Victim's name was Damon Harper, and he was 44 years old at the time. He was killed in a drive-by on the 800 block of West 104th Place. It happened at 6 o'clock at night, and police are claiming it's gang-related. 2 women and a man approached in the vehicle and started to shoot. The 800 block of West 104th Place would be in the 107 Hoover territory. But unfortunately, a year into fighting this case, somebody would kill Girl Mad on September 25th of 2021. We're gonna double back and talk about that though. But on March 10th of 2021, Mad Mo number 2 would have his murder charge dismissed, but he would be held on the rest of the charges. But Tiny Emac, aka GM's brother, and the 2 women accused of the murder would be held to answer on all counts. They would then spend the next 3 months fighting it. But on June 11th of 2021, Mad Mo number 2, aka KS, he would have most of the charges dismissed, but he would take a plea deal on assault with a firearm on a person again. He would get 4 years in state prison, and Tiny Emac, aka GM's brother, was acquitted on all counts. This would be
man, they coming from up under shit. Like, if you think about it, like, we been hearing he been having hella like cases and just going through the motions or whatever. He coming out swinging though, damn near every occasion, right? It's shit crazy.
Tiny Emac's Facebook bio, and as you see it says all 12 jurors not guilty. Who said God doesn't have favorites? I'm one of them. R.I.P. little sister. And as far as the 2 women go, one of them would take the murder charge, and she would take a plea deal to where it was reduced to a voluntary manslaughter, and she would get 6 years in state prison for that. And the other female, who was her sister, got all counts dismissed, but she ended up taking a plea deal for an accessory after the fact, and she got 3 years in state prison. But now you guys see how important the Mad Mo lineage is to the Denver Lane Bloods, and how much that name rings bells. So now I think it's time we dive into Girl Mad, who got her name from Mad Mo number 2, aka KS. And the name GM is starting to go viral, as we all know, because of B Braze.
Hey, and rest in peace to her, bro. Condolences, man, to y'all, to her family. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. Like, You know, bro, this crazy.
AKA Who's on YouTube. And baby Braze, who some of you may not know, is currently in jail for 7 life sentences plus 256 years. We made a video about him, go check it out if you haven't. But let's start where we left off about GM. As you see right there, she was murdered on September 25th of 2021. While KS and her brother Tiny Emac were fighting that murder case. Nobody got arrested for it, and it would still be a cold case. This would be Mad Mo's Instagram, and as you can tell from the caption, he had a bunch of love for her. But as you can see right here, GM was Braze's girlfriend at the time of his trial, and would even try to get him off by testifying. But the prosecutors didn't want her to, and tried to impeach her, saying that she lied about being a gang member, and had an open case for attacking somebody with a knife from a rival gang and yelling out on lanes while attacking her. They would even cite the case law in the court, and this is what they were talking about. As you can see, it would be 4 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, but 3 of them counts got dismissed, and she took a plea deal on 1 of them, to where she received 5.
Hey, I know, you know, they law system or whoever been trying to prosecute whatever these cases, they don't be having they shit together. No wonder why nigga keep pulling skid after skid.
5 years of probation, but then shortly after that, tragically she lost her life due to gun violence. She was a mother, a daughter, and a sister, and she was loved in her community. May she rest in peace. And now hopefully you guys can see what type of weight and respect that name holds in the streets of Los Angeles. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I appreciate y'all. Subscribe, comment, and like. It's Respectable Rants.
Hey man, it's respected, you know what I'm saying? And I respect it. You know what I'm saying? This shit crazy. It's wild. Like you know, it make you think like when you look at somebody, you can't really never tell what they done been through. It remind you that like when you watch something like this, like, you know, he say baby Braze got 7 life sentences. Bruh, that's too long. Like, what the did a nigga get 7 life sentences? We gonna tap in. I'm gonna tap into the story and see, like, and it's crazy. Like, then, you know, the shit with his girl. You know, I be tapped in, so I hear him saying on GM a lot. I hear it, you know, and now we get some insight, you know, and it's a trip, bruh. Like, you know, it's crazy, right? Like, that it's really some diabolical shit. Like, when you tap in and hear a motherfucker's story, you know, it just be a testament to how resilient a motherfucker be, right? And really, like, some would say, nigga, you don't got no choice. Yeah, at this point or whatever, but y'all let me know what y'all think, bro. We on to the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit all. Like, why not though? Like, it's good, bro. I'm gonna have
now later, ho. Say, ho, you can't be playing with that paper, ho. Nigga need that yaper, need it now and not later, ho. Say, ho, you can't be playing with that paper, ho. Nigga need that yaper.